I had tried, I think, just about every planning system in creation, online and offline, and just nothing worked for me. I'd invest in something, get really excited, I'd use it for a few weeks, I'd find something about it that didn't fit, get frustrated and move on. And that was costing me an enormous amount of time and an enormous amount of money. I couldn't find a system that was going to capture everything that I needed to capture. And I would try and start something and then I'd mess it up and get really, really upset with myself and go back to the odd bits of paper that were stuck all over the house. And it made me feel just really out of control. And it creates anxiety, I think, doesn't it? When you don't have one space where you've got everything you need, you're constantly in a state of kind of fibrillation between different things. And it just made me feel disorganized and frustrated. And I was spending more time trying to find a planner than I was actually doing my work. There were two things that really shifted for me doing the course. The first was the kind of mental thing, and it was your kinder, gentler approach to planning. And the permission that you gave to not only give yourself a break, but also to take things off the list, you know, if they no longer matter. I don't know if you recall my spectacular example of that, where when I pulled everything together and started to look at it properly, I realized there'd been one item on my list for nearly 3 years. And it was something someone else had asked me to do that I didn't really want to do. And they'd never even chased me up on it. So I just thought, oh, I'll just cross that out. And the freedom it gave me, but I somehow needed someone else to tell me that that was okay to do that. So there was the kind of kinder approach. And then the practical realization I had that changed everything was that as a visual person, whatever system I was going to have, it had to be something where I could put in my own input, but it also had to be something where pages could be removed and moved around, because I can't cope with the flicking backwards and forwards in a notebook thing at all. Visually, it doesn't work for me. So once I'd kind of got together with the gentler, kinder approach and the realization that I needed to make my own planner because there wasn't going to be one out there that worked for me, those two things shifted everything. And I've got things in there that make me feel nice, pictures that I like, quotes I like, things that make me want to hang out with this planner. And that's been transformational, because now I look forward to opening it every morning and I don't feel overwhelmed in the way that I used to. You can properly see what is on your plate. And I ended up feeling the exact opposite of overwhelmed. I felt organized for the first time ever. And the only other worry was that would I use it as a procrastination tool, you know, more time on planning and less time on doing. And that didn't happen either. I found your system really intuitive. It had lots of space in it for people to do their own thing. The pacing was lovely, so it didn't overwhelm me and it didn't become an obsession. It was just a really useful check-in that I could go and look back at every now and again. So yeah, I think my worries were totally unfounded. But I think a lot of times you're fearful, aren't you, that if you take a good long hard look at it, that it's going to give rise to a lot of uncomfortable feelings. But actually I just laughed at myself when I realized that I had 3-year-old random items that nobody was actually asking me to do anymore. Take the time to tackle this issue once and for all. It's an investment in your mental health and your sanity, as well as your productivity. You know, Louise's course is beautifully paced. You can take your time. You will not feel like it's another burden on you. And it's a real investment. And since I took the course, I have not struggled with planning at all. And that was something I had been struggling with probably for about 5 years. So it's well worth taking the time out to just think about how you plan, what it means to you, and how you can organize that in a way that's going to become helpful to you rather than just another problem.